Efecto Cascada.
Un podcast de Explore.
Okay, so dear Explorers, welcome once again to Efecto Cascada, a podcast by Exploro where we dive into the forefront of innovation, share insights from entrepreneurs, and uncover cascade funding opportunities. In each episode, we'll explore the latest trends in the digital stream, the arts, and the transformative technologies that are shaping our future. So, broadcasting from Pamplona, Spain, we aim to reach a global audience starting from European Union projects. So I'm Paula Ortiz, Communications Manager from Exploro. It's nice to meet you once again and be your host for today's episode. And even though this one is in English, you can just always listen it to another language. If you go to YouTube and activate subtitles, you'll have the translation there. So today we're honored to welcome Nefeli Georgakopoulou, architect and associate researcher at the Center for Research and Technology, Hellas. So Nefeli, she brings a unique perspective as an architect working at the nexus of technology, art, and urban design, having contributed to European projects that reimagine how we interact with urban spaces. So in today's discussion, we'll delve into two innovative projects. These are ReSilence and MindSpaces. So first off, ReSilence is pioneering the creation of soundscapes for future cities by blending technologies with urban design. And meanwhile, MindSpaces is shaping both public and private spaces by integrating art, neuroscience, and cutting-edge technology. So we'll explore how these projects are reshaping urban spaces. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So welcome, Nefeli. How are you?
Welcome. Fine. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me here. I'm very honored.
Thank you. It's great to have you here. All right. So could you introduce yourself to the listeners and tell us a bit about your background, if you want?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Nefeli Georgakopoulou. And as Paula said, I'm a research associate at CERTH. I have a background in architecture. I have a master's degree from the Athens School of Fine Arts. And I have a PhD in aesthetics, science and technology of the arts from the Paris 8 University. So I started as an architect, and I mainly worked on renovation of buildings at various scales. And I belong to the generation that designed on paper at the beginning, and then like shifted to digital tools. And actually, this shift, it made me like think of how these tools alter not all the way that we design, but also how we perceive spaces, how we communicate our ideas, how it can change like the aesthetics and the forms of designs, and how they can like help in getting insights of what people want and needs from our urban like fabric. So that is why I wanted like to dive more in this digital tool and investigate how they can help like architects and designers to consider like the broader impact of our creations on communities, the environment, and future generations in general.
So what motivated you, if you can tell us, to focus on the creative sector and European projects? How come you started working on that?
Yeah, actually, during my PhD, I started collaborating with CERTH and more specifically the multimodal data and fusion analytics group, M4D, which through the result of like several national and European like projects in the area of computer vision, big data, AI, and decision support and other technology, they have emerged, and they have a leading role in arts and media, in the arts and media domain. So actually this gave me like the opportunity to experiment with such like technologies through the lens of a more like a creative space. And helped me also to investigate, research like how we can help like architects which like to question the established order of things, challenge like normative stereotypes, promote like collective meanings and stuff like that. So that's how I actually got engaged with the European project to CERTH.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was another question I had. How did you find the link with architecture? Because it seems like a perfect scenario for you, literally merging arts, architecture, and projects, right?
Yeah, they had like this domain research on arts, media, and design in general, and they wanted also to have inside the institution not only like technology experts but people from different fields,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, this is how it started, and this is also the philosophy of the starts that we are going to also discuss, like the interdisciplinary collaborations and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was
Definitely.
very
Yeah.
inspiring for me.
Mm-hmm. No, but that's true because mixing different mentalities in order to develop a project can, well, we can have an awesome outcome because that way there's lots of insights brought to the
Mhm.
table. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's jump on to, let's say, the one of the first project contexts. Let's go with resilience, if you want. Could you tell us a bit about this project and what is the main objective? How does it seek, right, to integrate art into the design of soundscapes for cities?
Yeah, so Resilience is a STARTS project. So STARTS is an initiative of the European Commission to foster this alliance between science, technology, and the arts. And that how can these like effectively implement a European like approach to technological innovation centered like on human needs and values. So Resilience started in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
We are a consortium of 9 partners, and CERTH is the coordinator. Aristotle University of Thessaloniki is another partner. We have the Thessaloniki Concert Hall. We have Max Planck Institute in Frankfurt. We have the University Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
We have the University of Genoa in Genoa, fundamental research in Brussels, and the Maastricht University in Maastricht. So this is
All
the
right.
consortium.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the main objective of Resilience has to do with sound in the city, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
we try to explore like the creative and social potential of sound by
Okay.
focusing on the borders between sound and silence in a changing world, because our world is
Mm-hmm.
changing rapidly, producing acoustic awareness in urban spaces, offering new possibilities for social interaction through sound, creating new types of urban sound experience, and in general, how sound can influence the identity of a place.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing this through art-driven experiments, where we engage and invite artists to collaborate with the consortium through open calls.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to establish this collaboration between the artists, the scientists, and the technology experts, we have worked in a research creation ground. So research creation combines like creative and academic research practices and support the development of knowledge and innovation through artistic experimentation, scholarly investigation, and through this methodology, we actually try to give like more time and space to what we believe is very, very important: experimentation and
Mm-hmm.
exploration. And through this phase is very important. This phase is very important, like for fostering emergent thinking, which has to do
Okay.
with uncertainty and openness. So uncertainty plays like a role in this way of thinking because it allows like the different people like collaborating to explore multiple directions without being like constrained by a predetermined outcome. And this openness can also like lead to innovation and that otherwise might be overlooked because we are very like focused solely on finding like immediate answers to the problems that we have, and we don't leave like space and time for exploration and experimentation. And that's what we're trying to do in ReSilence through this methodology and the combination between arts, technology, and science.
What kind of people or profile are you or were you looking for to develop this project?
In ReSilence specifically, it's like we have engaged with sound designers, with people that work like in the soundscape experience, people that are architects and designers, but they also like very interested in sound. Yeah, anyone that has like this connection like with sound within his artistic practice or research. STARTS has already like a community. So yeah, we through STARTS, because we also like launch these calls and we disseminate and distribute it through our channels, but also through STARTS. And no, it wasn't easy. No, it wasn't difficult.
I mean, it's a really specific idea, right? So if like a sound engineer suddenly finds about it, I'm just curious how it's gonna get interested in that. But yeah, and what specific issues are you trying to address here? If you could tell us a bit.
Okay, we focus on how through sound. Okay, we have like 4 cases mainly, like 4 big umbrellas. So we focus on increase social engagement through musical and sound experience. For example, we explore how like crowds can contribute to real-time sound composition in like shared environments.
Wow.
We try to understand the transformation of city sounds as they shift like from a mechanical to an electrical like system. To inform like urban planning strategies, for example, exploring how to include and foster like both ecological sound practices and sound design when we design spaces, and create like opportunities to build new forms of empathy through shared auditory experience. We work, for example, we try to achieve like new ways of hearing through wearables and like through new ways of seeing like through sonification. So how sound can substitute another sensor experience and vice versa.
And what inspired? Was there a specific reason or challenge that inspired the creation of this project?
Actually, it's a continuation of the other project that we have like had before, like MindSpaces, where in MindSpaces we focused a lot of the visual aspect. We understood that we need also to focus on sound while we design the space. It's very, very central, and most of the times urban planners and architects like they don't like use it, like they don't focus on it because it's very ambiguous and uncertain, so it's difficult. And we decided to go for it. And it's more like about a curiosity to explore like how sound can be used like as a tool for reimagining like our cities.
So since you introduced, let's say, the sound branch, and now we should move on to the visual part, which is MindSpaces. So please, Nefeli, tell us a bit about how does it aim to design public and private spaces, because it's like a different path here.
Yes, so okay, MindSpaces. Okay, I will shortly introduce MindSpaces. So MindSpaces
Mm-hmm.
started 2019, and we were 13 partners. It was an Horizon 2020 Europe, while ReSilence is a Horizon Europe program, and the main like goal of MindSpaces as an overall approach is the development of a framework
Okay.
to create like art-driven processes and technology where designers can actually like democratize the decision-making process through adapting
Mm-hmm.
designs to collective insights. So we try to gather like collective insights through artistic practices and technologies as natural language processing, EEG, which is like electroencephalography,
Oh.
in general, like physiological sensing, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, experience that come from like directly from our body, and virtual reality. And this we tried also, as you said, to research it through open spaces like public spaces, through workplaces, and
Okay.
through interior
Mm-hmm.
spaces as well. And okay, for each one we needed like a different approach, of course, but at the end we tried like to somehow um, um, we try to understand like the way that people can contribute to a space that is going to be
Right.
designed, not
Mm-hmm.
only through like questionnaires, that it's like mostly the way that the participatory design like works, or not only like with gamified experiences, but also with more indirect insights of emotional like data
Mm.
as to.
Right.
So that's it. Yeah.
And, actually, how do you see this connection between these three branches, which is neuroscience, technology, and arts? Do you think MindSpaces could be the pioneer project onto developing, future spaces? Can it inspire other people? You think?
Yes, definitely. And I think like the neuroscience part, it's very, very interesting and very, very complicated at the same time. And there are a lot of artists that are very like keen on diving in this aspect, because like art nowadays it has to do also with creating experiences. So
Mm-hmm.
many artists are very interesting in understanding like what affect have also their work. uh, Architects as well, they're also very interested in understanding the effect of their designs and the spaces.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this can be now, I think, more easily tapped through technologies. We are not
Mm-hmm.
like yet there to fully understand what's happening. The brain is a very complicated organ, so we are far away, but it's
Yeah.
a start.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and something that in general and in mind spaces and resilience that we work towards like this emotional turn that it has to do also with the blending of the physical and the digital fabric
Mm-hmm.
of our city. So yeah.
All right. So now that we have both contexts, let's try to relate it somehow. So from your perspective, right, as an artist, as an architect, how do you think they can somehow complement each other?
I think what I said, maybe it's like the
Mm-hmm.
connection, like this, the exploration of how emotional data are created nowadays, actually, and how are used through technology and how are understood within this blended like digital real life fabric. It's a common ground for both for both projects, and yeah, of course the integration of the artist in like this processes is very, very important, and how like through a different way of thinking we can like tap in some challenges and try to find solutions. I wouldn't say that we always find solutions. Most of the time are very, very they are very, very complicated, but there are like a start for next steps.
What were the main benefits offered here, and specifically the financial support?
Yes, I think it's very, very important. Like the cascade funding, it's a way to allow to smaller like organizations and individuals, like artists, startups, to receive like this financial support directly through these initiatives without having to apply like for these large scale European programs,
Right.
which yeah, for someone that has no like experience, it's very, very difficult to understand how they work and how they can apply on that. So it's like a more simpler way for them to get in this world, which is very, very interesting and very, very important. And I think it's a super opportunity for somebody that, you know, like his work like by his own to go on for this and explore this world.
And by the way, how do you expect these events that's happening where you're gonna showcase everything? How do you expect the, let's say, networking to go? Because as you said, these kind of people, these groups are used to going to conferences or let's say museums and so on. So it's gonna be a a mix there.
Yeah. I think it's gonna go well. I think that people like no, yeah, it starts to it's starting to have like more and more researchers interested in the art field, and artists definitely like interested in the research field. Of course, the language, it's not the same, like the way they communicate their ideas. But when we have like something tangible, like the projects that we're gonna have there, and somebody can play around with it, I think it's gonna be like a good ground for both to understand the each side, I guess. We will see.
So Nefeli, which advice could you give to innovators and smaller actors, right, that may be surrounding our audience? What advice could you give them, to encourage them to apply to cascade funding opportunities, or be brave enough to make their projects reality?
I think, yes, it's like this, the cross-disciplinary partnership. I think it's very, very essential. So for some of them, it might be like feel like it's something difficult to achieve, but it's not always. Like we as people find ways to communicate and collaborate. And this collaboration, I think, will strengthen like the work and the innovation, and open up new perspectives. So the advice is go ahead. Don't be scared of it. It's very, very creative.
All right, so before we wrap up this episode, let's move on to the final section, okay, where you'll first have to answer a question from the previous guest. And then you'll have the ball in your hands, and you could raise a question for the next one, okay? Plus giving us a fun fact and a piece of advice. Okay, so you ready? Perfect. So your question is from Carmen Bruno from SAE, actually another initiative from CERTH. And she said that speaking about collaboration, she asked if you could collaborate with any historical figure or character, okay, throughout all history in a project, who will it be?
Nice question. Okay, I think I would say I would like to collaborate with William Morris, who is like one of the
Mhm.
founders of the arts and craft movement,
Okay.
because I think we are kind in a similar situation as years before, this fight between the industry and the crafts
Mhm.
and the arts.
Yeah.
It's again now on our hands, like not from like the mechanical perspective, but from the digital one.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that what they have done, I would like to to collaborate with them and understand how they were like dealing with this at that time.
Wow. So you could say you're the William Morris of the digital stream, right? That's so good. Okay. So do you have a fun fact for us? It can be
Ah,
anything, honestly. It doesn't have
anything.
to be related with the projects. You can just tell us about yourself, whatever.
Okay, fun fact. Okay, because I am an architect and I've lived like several years in Paris. The fun fact is
Mhm.
that I very recently find out that the Eiffel Tower was designed for Barcelona. I didn't know it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
probably I should have known it as an architect and a person that living in Paris, but I didn't. That's a few days ago that I
Okay.
pumped up in this, and yeah, this is a fun fact. I said, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay, and finally, could you give us an advice, any tip, hack?
Advice. Okay, I will. I would say that don't underestimate the value of artistic collaboration and working like with artists and people that think differently from
Mhm.
from it's one of us. And I think that this can like offer new ways of thinking, of new ways, new world views, as to say, and showcase like paradigm shifts that our contemporary society definitely needs,
Mhm. Yeah, honestly, a
in my
great
opinion.
review about all that we talk about, and I think it's a must, and it's a feature of us humans that we still
Mhm.
need to consider to
Yeah.
evolve, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so thank you very much, Nefeli, for being with us today, letting us know what's about all these projects, your background. It was really interesting conversation. So thank you. We are very pleased.
Thank you, Paola.
So this brings us to the end of the episode of Efecto Cascada. And remember that this podcast is available on all streaming platforms, YouTube, because it's a video podcast, then Spotify and Amazon Podcast as well. So make sure to subscribe so you won't miss anything. So until next time, explorers, it was great to have you. And let's keep captivating the innovation together. So see you next time. Bye.